Tools, we're going to be using the Revolve tool as well as the sweep tool, and obviously some sketching tools in order to create this cup. Now I know you might have created a coffee cup earlier in the year, but this is a different version, so you're going to go ahead and create this one in following along with me. So just like we did on the last exercise, you're going to create a new part studio, and you could rename that Revolve exercise. And we're good to go. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is create a new sketch, and I'm going to create that on the front plane. You can go ahead and name that sketch Cup Profile, and we're going to outline what our cup is going to look like. So we're going to create a sketch using all lines. Starting at the origin, you always want something to be starting at the origin. So my cup is going to be 4 inches tall. It's going to be 2.5 inches wide there. I'm going to create a diagonal line, close my shape, and the bottom of my cup is going to be 1.75. Not 0.75, 1.75. Great. Okay, now we're going to use the offset tool to offset all outer lines to 0.25 inches. This is going to help us create the inside of our cup. So I'm going to choose offset, and I'm going to choose all 3 of these outer lines, and you want to make sure that's 0.25, so I'm going to click down. If you need to edit it, edit it. If not, you're just going to hit enter, and then you have those lines. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is add a line to create like an opening at the top of our cup. So I'm going to essentially click on this corner here and then click and drag up. You'll see when I'm creating this blue line that I want that yellow dashed line to be showing, so I know it's completely parallel to the existing line. And you don't need to mention that. You could just hit escape. It could turn blue. It should turn blue. If it doesn't turn blue, come see me and I will help you with that. Okay, so now we're good. We're going to hit the green check. So now we're going to use the Revolve tool. So we're going to choose our Revolve axis first. So I'm going to click Revolve axis. It should turn blue. Our Revolve axis is this line, vertical line going all the way up. The faces and sketch regions to revolve. I just clicked on that. That's why it turned blue. And I want to revolve just the outside of that shape we created, and now you see a little bit of a cup. Okay, so I'm going to rename this cup. And now we have, obviously we have our cup, but it's kind of like sharp, right? Sharp edges. We want a nice, comfortable cup. So we're going to use this fillet tool, and we're going to fillet the edges of our cup to 0.1 inches. And hit the green check. The computer's going kind of slow, and that's good. Okay? You don't need to rename it because that's just a fillet. The name of the tool is basically what we're doing. All right, so now we're going to create the handle of our cup. So I'm going to go back to my isometric view just so I'm looking at it from, a default angle. So I'm going to create a new sketch, and I'm going to create that sketch on the front plane. And then I'm going to look at things from the front. I am then going to name this handle path. Okay, now my cup profile sketch is hidden. I want to show it because I'm going to have to use it for a couple things. Now we're going to draw the path of the handle. So I'm going to use a 3-point arc, and I'm going to start that arc on this inner dashed line here. So I'm going to create that arc, and that arc is going to be 0.75 inches. I am then going to create a line off the arc that connects to this dashed line. That's 1.5 inches. Now this arc it looks a little funny. It doesn't look perfectly smooth. So I'm going to go back to my constraints here and choose tangent. And I want the arc tangent to the line. It'll kind of lock things in. I also want these 2 points to be horizontal to each other. So let's see if that works. Nope, I don't want it actually horizontal. I want them to be, let's see. I don't want them to be equal. I don't want them to be perpendicular. Let's see if I can drag this a little bit down. Okay, so what I'm actually gonna do Since I don't want to put more constraints on this and introduce more constraints to you, I'm going to just delete this arc, and I'm going to go ahead and redraw it. So when I'm creating my arc, I want the points of the arc to be 0.75, to be in line with each other. Now I can use a new constraint called the coincident constraint to connect these two dots together. There we go. And make sure that our arc and our line are tangent to each other, and that looks much better. Okay, so now let's position where we want our handle to go. So I'm going to use the dimension tool, and I want the top of my arc, this point, and the bottom of the cup to be 3 inches from each other. And then we're good to go. I'm going to hit the green check. So now we have kind of the outline of what our cup handle is going to look like. So now we need to create a new plane in order to finish up this cup handle. So I'm going to click the plane tool. I'm going to choose the type of plane. It's going to be a curve point plane. The entities you're going to choose is the edge of the path, the point at the end of this line, and the line itself. And now you see we have an angled plane. That's what we want. So I'm just going to keep that as plane 1. Now we're going to make a new sketch on that new plane that we just created. And we're actually going to start with a rectangle here because I want this to be a little bit of a not perfectly circular handle. So I'm going to zoom in with my center point rectangle, and I'm going to start that center point rectangle at the bottom point of my cup handle. The dimensions of that rectangle are going to be, let's see how 0.5 by 0.5 looks. That's a little too square for me. So let's do 0.5 by 0.2. That's a little better, right? We want this to be a comfortable cup. I am then going to use my sketch fillet tool, and I'm going to fillet the edges. I don't want 0.25, so let's see if it lets me change this. It's not letting me change this. Let's just slide back a bit. I want it to be 0.1 or as close to 0.1 as possible. So sometimes when I click down, there we go, I'm able to change it to 0.1. So I'm going to do that to all 4 corners. And that's what the profile of our cup handle is going to be. So I'm going to rename this handle profile and hit the green check. Now we're going to use our new tool, which is the sweep tool. So the faces and sketch regions to sweep. What I want to sweep is the handle profile. So I'm going to click on that. The sweep path is going to be the handle path. That's why we name everything accordingly. Make sure it's an add sweep and hit the green check. And there is our basic coffee cup. Okay, so you're going to rename part 1 cup. Rename cup. Let's assign material. Let's try porcelain. Porcelain. Make it somewhat realistic. I'm going to click on cup, click on the mass, and your mass should be within 0.1 pounds of what my mass is here. If it's really off, come see me and we'll talk about it.